Hey everyone, we are so excited to have you here on our Work Smarter Not Harder Part 2 webinar. And my name is Brooke Lowry, and I am a lead learning guide here at Fried Technology. And I'm joined by two of my colleagues, Jacqueline and Courtney. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves as well. Go ahead, Jacqueline.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jacqueline Glazner, and I'm also a lead learning guide with Fried Technology.
Yeah, and
And
Miss Courtney.
hello, everyone. I am Courtney Watson, a lead learning guide with Fry Technology.
And I'm so excited that they are with me today because, as you guys see, Amy is not here for those of you who have joined in the past. And we're going to hold it down. You guys think we're going to be able to hold it down today?
We
I
got
feel like we
this.
got this. Yeah, we got this. We got
Your
it.
confidence was not quite as strong as I was ready for, but
Oh.
that's cool. No need for that overconfidence, right? So we are excited that you guys are back for part 2. If you were here for part 1, I saw a few comments already that said that everyone got some great stuff from it. So I know that there are a couple pieces of today that I have been waiting for a long time. So I'm excited. Before we get started, I just want to note that if you are looking for access to our slide deck, it is always going to be found up in the upper right-hand corner of the slides. Notice that it is today's date, so that's quick and easy to come back to. So fry.tech 10/26/21, that'll get you to the slide deck. And also they are being recorded and you can catch them afterwards, also with the subtitles. So if you need that, it will be available. Are you guys ready to get started?
Let's
Let's
go.
do
All
it.
right,
We are
here we
so
go.
ready now.
All right. So we have some great things coming up, and I know we're going to kick things off with Jacqueline, and she is going to be talking to us about assistive writing tools.
Yes, thank you, Brooke. Okay, so assistive writing tools. What is this? Why do we need it? So, diversity, equity, inclusion, these are all things that are important, whether we are in the workplace or on campus in our classrooms. These are important qualities in our lives. And it might seem kind of intimidating if, we know we need to incorporate this, but how? What does that look like? So, there are a lot of little things that we can do, and there are a lot of little things that us as educators can do or with people in our businesses. And Google is here to help us with that. So, what they have coming later this year are writing tips. And this is an assisted writing feature, and it's coming to Google Docs. And it's going to range you from warning about things that might be offensive or excessively wordy language or non inclusive language. So, like you can see on that slide here, it's going to give you also some stylistic suggestions. Now, admins can turn this on and off, but this is a great way that Google is going to kind of just suggest, hey, we see this is what you're writing. Maybe check out this option. What do you think about this? And just like the other kind of squiggles that Google brings to us, we still are going to have the red squiggle for the misspelling. Okay, that'll still be there. Green will still be there for grammar, but this squiggle is going to, they've sassed it up a little bit and it's purple. Okay, so you will see a purple squiggle for any of these suggestions. And they're going to be able to make these suggestions about your different kinds of styles, and some will be really important. Some will include more inclusive suggestions. So we're going to conduct a meeting with a chairman. You might get a little purple squiggle and it'll suggest it. How about we're going to conduct a meeting with a chairperson or a delivery person versus mailman? So it's really looking to be more inclusive.
Yeah, and I think, Jacqueline, I think the reason that you really made sure you said that no, the other things were going away is because this is for the Education Plus. So those who have the fundamentals, don't worry, we're still going to have all of our spelling corrections and our grammar tips on that side. This is just going to be one extra piece that's going to be available in the Education Plus.
Yes, definitely. So don't worry. All your other squiggles you will still be able to have access to regardless of your level. But yeah, this is for that Education Plus.
Which is good because there are times that it doesn't matter how many times it changes a couple of words, I always spell them wrong. So I'm thankful for that assistance.
Yes, I wonder if autocorrect is like spoiling me a little bit with the squiggles.
It might be.
Yes, so keep an eye out for this, and it will also include even things such as geographic area centric phrasing. So if you are talking about something that is maybe more specific to a certain area of United States or Europe, it will even suggest more clear, precise language so that you can be more accurate and more empowering in general with your words.
All right, that is fancy. That's
Yeah.
going to be a great help. Okay, so I think we're ready to move on to another little assistant. And Courtney, I'm not going to throw this to you. We
Thank
may have
you.
we may have ran through this earlier, and I may have panicked her that this was something she was going to teach, but it's actually me. So here we go. All right. So Google Sheets, everyone's best friend, right? I just know that there are people out there that are just like, oh, Sheets, this is my favorite. And I have to tell you, I was intimidated by Google Sheets for a really long time because I felt like I just didn't know what to do with it other than like put things in columns and then but I watch other people, especially some folks on our team, and it's like they make magic in there. Well, I can make magic now too with the assisted formulas. This is so easy to use. Just with knowing a couple of little things, you can work the Google formula magic as well. So I have one here pulled up that I want to show you what this means. It's going to give me suggestions. So here I've added some of my favorite students, also some of my friends, and hopefully when they watch this, none of them are going to be mad at me for their test and quiz scores. But I want to say I want to average out what the test and quiz grade is here. So instead of getting out my calculator and doing all the things, the math things, makes it a little difficult. So I'm able to go in and just very easily grab these two columns, or over here in the average column, what I can do is just do the equal sign, and automatically this is going to give me my two squares highlighted here, and it says tab average. So if I just click over on my tab button, it gives me that average, but this is the best part next. When I click in this next cell, it's going to autofill a suggestion here. Suggestion, autofill. Yes, please. That's exactly what I would like to do. So if I click this little check mark, it now puts that formula in all of these cells for me so that I can quickly jump in and add that there. So nice, so easy, just using those little quick features. Now, I have to tell you, there is another thing that I've always used inside of Google Sheets that kind of also did the same thing where I can pull that formula and it works just like this. It is the Explore tool. Ladies, have you guys ever seen the Explore tool in Google Sheets?
Yes, yes. And it is an ooh ah moment.
Okay, well, here we go. So I want to show it just in case you guys have never seen this before. I can ask a question from my Google Sheet on a whole bunch of data. That's what I'm going to do. So I kind of already have my question here for you guys because, time and ease. So here is this overwhelming spreadsheet with all these numbers, and I mean, it's overwhelming to me. What would I do here? If I go down and click on the Explore tool in the very bottom right-hand corner, it pops up and it doesn't look like anything interesting is happening yet. So I'm going to say try it. Whoops. It's making me make a copy here. That's not what we want to do. Let's try this again. I'm going to go to my Explore tool. And because we're live, it's not going to show me what I want it to show. And that's fine. I'm telling you guys, I have this whole new love for live television now that we're using this all the time. All right, I'm going to try this one more time. Explore tool. There we go. Third time's the charm.
Yay.
I'm going to paste my question in and hit enter. It is going to look through all of my data. Did you just see that? It just looks through every single thing. And now it's telling me right down here at the bottom, it says that China is my answer. But this is not only what is the best part. It gives me my answer, but I can also click right here where it says see formula. And I can just click to copy, or I can drag this into a cell and it's going to put that information into my Google Sheet. And now if my numbers change or my data of any type change in this Google Sheet, it will automatically update using this formula over here on the side. So it's just a very quick, easy way to find those formulas that you have been looking for that magic data all the time. I know the first time that I saw someone do this, I could have hugged the guy. I was just like, I needed this. I need to be able to ask that question. So again, you can use the assisted formulas that are going to be coming where you can just go in and drag and it's going to say, hey, would you like to use this formula? And you can click the little check mark and say, yes, I do want to use that formula and use that magically, or you can also use the Explore tool. Have you guys ever found that when you do get suggestions like this, like even when I'm like on spelling or these formulas, after I see it so many times, the suggestion, it kind of starts to stick with me. And it's like I'm learning as I go. I know, mind blowing, right? Do you guys ever feel that way?
Yeah, it's especially on sheets. Like I used to use it just a little bit, dabbling, like for averages and things. And so eventually you do kind of learn some of those common
Mhm.
formulas. But like
Yeah.
the one that you just pulled, from the Explorer tool, no, I would not know that one. So thank you, Explorer tool, for being there.
Yes, I have to say the Explore tool is your handiest assistant all the way through Google. It is one of my favorite tools.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I wish we had Daryl's ooh, ah,
Oh, I'm
yeah,
telling you, it is an ooh ah moment. Yes.
it
Ooh
really
ah.
is. Okay, so this is it says launching later this year, but I am already seeing it in mine, but I know that sometimes those things roll out, so you may be seeing it or it may be coming soon. And this is education fundamentals, so that means everybody's getting it. All right, now Courtney, I do believe this is actually you, and I have to say, I know that you are going to be everyone's favorite today because the thing that we have all been waiting for has finally arrived in Google Forms.
I think you might be right.
That was fair to say?
Yes.
Okay, now everybody's on pins and needles. They're all waiting to hear
The,
what this thing is that
The
they've all been waiting
suspense.
for.
you just have to wait for it because we're not going to talk about it just yet.
Oh man, all right, we'll wait then.
All right, but one great update. We already know that Forms is super fab, useful tool in the classroom. We can make surveys, an SEL check-in, good old-fashioned quiz. But now it's going to be even faster and easier to set your particular form up exactly how you want it to be. So we've always been able to make these adjustments, but now we have one place to go and look for all these settings. We have a new settings tab. Instead of having to go to two different places and try to remember which one is where, one settings tab at the top of your forms that holds all the things. So we have a form,
We do have a form.
and so we're used to, we have the questions page, if you will, of our form setup. We have the responses area, and now right next to it, right where it should be, we have a third tab for settings, because while we're creating our form, what else will we need other than settings? Yes.
Yeah, and that's a big update because when I first opened it and I was like, "Where's the gear?" I'm up here clicking on the eyeball and my customizing. I'm like, Where's the gear? Where did it go?" And it was like, "Oh, it's over here. It's a whole page now." So I click on settings.
Exactly. And so now, like I said, we've combined some of the things that we used to have to go into that gear for, or into the three dots I call the snowman. So let's look at, so one of them, which I'll just say a lot of people didn't even know that this used to live in the snowman, but there are default settings in Google Forms.
I'm
So
so
let's look at
sad
that
right
section.
now
Why, Brooke?
because
Why?
this was one of those moments, and I just have to say that anytime we were presenting, if we got to show where the hidden defaults were over
Mhm.
here, it was one of those powerful moments for us as presenters where we became everyone's best friends. I mean, not that we still can't show them, not that you guys still can't show your teachers where this is, but it used to be one of those hidden moments, and now it's hiding in plain sight.
True story. True story. But some of those defaults, those things that you do all the time whenever you use a form, you can go ahead and turn these on now. And when you turn it on, it will be on the form you're working with and every form going forward until you
Courtney,
turn it off, of course.
I feel like we need to stop and talk about these defaults.
Let's do it. So the first one there we have is, do you want to collect email addresses by default? I- if it's 9.5 times out of 10, go ahead and turn it on, because it's easier to turn it off that half a time than have to remember to turn it on every single form.
Well,
So
we want
this
to know those students. We want to know who that belongs
exactly.
to.
Yep.
Yes.
And then I think question defaults. Do you want it to be a required question? Yes.
Yes.
So do I want to turn? Do I have to click a button on every single question I make? Let's not. Let's turn this on, and then when I create my form, there we go. If I don't need it, to be required, one to turn off. There we go.
I'm not seeing the comments on our live feed, but I'm just wondering if there's anybody over there on the live feed that is, if they've never seen the make questions required by default, that is normally that moment where everyone is like, there it is. I've been looking for that for forever. And then it appears, and everybody's so excited because then it's there every single time by default.
Yes, it's one of those little things that it takes 2 seconds to click it. Two
Yeah.
seconds, but every 2 seconds counts. And if Google can make our lives just a little bit easier, one form at a time, I'll take it.
For sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and
For
I always know
sure.
me when I was in the classroom and working with students all the time. I'd be like, "Why didn't they answer that question? I have no idea why they didn't. They all skipped that one." And it's like, "Oh, I forgot to make it required." And they were like, "She didn't require that one. I'm moving on."
I'm not
So,
doing it.
yeah,
Or even worse, if you didn't make name the required question.
yeah,
Whose
Yes.
quiz is this?
that's always fun. That's always fun. Okay, what else can we talk about with settings?
Okay, so let's look up at the top section there, and then we go into the actual settings. So you have your make this a quiz. So if you are using Google Forms for quizzes most often, then go ahead and turn that on. And so then you can always, when you start a new form, it will be set up with your settings turned on for your quizzes. And then you can adjust some of those specific settings for quizzes as well once you toggle that on or off. You have some other things in there for managing responses. So under responses, you can, again, do you want to collect those email addresses? Do you want to allow your respondents to get a copy of the answers that they put into the form? Do you want them to be able to edit their responses? It depends, depends on what you're using it for. If it's more of a formative, like assessment sort of a thing or tool you're using for your students, maybe you do want them to be able to adjust those settings. If you are using it more for summative assessment, or if you're using it for maybe your colleagues, maybe there will be times where you do or don't need to have those settings. And then we have some of those other important ones there, of course, about requiring sign-in, yes or no, and restricting it to your domain, which most times we want to make sure it's only for people on our campus, in our district who can access those. Then under presentation, we have those, again, these are all those adjustments we could always make on quizzes, right? But they're all just in one spot for us now. So do you want a progress bar? Do you want to shuffle your questions and things like that? And then you've got your confirmation message. So
Yep.
instead of saying your response has been recorded, you can still go in and edit that and make it say what you would like it to say. Add a link if you need to add a link to send them somewhere else. All that's still there for you. Let them submit another response. And then there's one little one down there at the bottom that was not there before under
It was not.
restrictions.
Brand new, brand new.
Ooh.
And we're kind of, I'm not going to bury the lead with this one, because what you can do here is disable autosave for all respondents. And so hopefully you're like, wait a minute, autosave? Yeah,
Well,
because
where did that come from?
it's finally here. And now, what you've been waiting for. I think this is the update that everybody has been saying.
Yes.
I need to be able to, what happens, because our students, oh, the bell's about to ring, I'm not going to finish. Hurry.
Yes.
Is all we had before, right? But now, yes, it is here, autosave. So am I the only one? Am I the only one excited about this?
No, we're super
So
excited about this.
Yes.
So definitely, Forms for Sure now saves your draft responses. So we'll save them up to 30 days or until you submit, whichever comes first. A couple of things to note that if you're offline, it won't save.
That's a big one,
makes
right?
sense.
If you're,
Yeah,
if you're not offline. Yep.
good to know. If you go to a form and you do see saving disabled, it's usually, I think, kind of in that top right when you see a form and it has a little symbol next to it. That means that form creator may have disabled it on their particular form. So just like I showed you over in settings, that you can still do that as well. So just keep that in mind. When you are creating forms, you have the option to disable the autosave, and there might be times, like I said, even though this is a super update that we've all been waiting for, will there be times that you maybe don't want to have the autosave feature? So
Yeah, there's definitely maybe a few times that you may not want that. Do you guys have any ideas about why maybe a teacher wouldn't want to have that autosave on?
So one thing I thought about was, usually you have some students who have either, whether it's accommodations or whatever the case may be, they may need, say, extra time. So that student, I do want them to be able to have their form autosave and they can come back to it the next day. But go ahead.
So can I save this out for individual students? So some I can set it to be autosave, and some that they can save it, and then others that it's disabled for. How am I going to manage that?
So here we go. So the short answer is no. So within one form, the setting is either enabled or disabled. Okay.
Okay.
But there might be, a workaround that you can do if you're, say, pushing out forms to like Google Classroom, where you can do some things to make it work for your students who do need that extra time and your students who don't need the extra time. What do you think, Jacqueline?
Yes, 100%. We love a good workaround here at Fried Technology. And if you have, say, two groups of students, one, you want them to be able to have that extra time. The others, no, you need them. There's some great comments coming in about reasons why people might want to have students with that enabled or disabled. And what you can do is just simply upload and create your form, and then just make a
Oh,
copy of it and change your settings so that each form has the settings that you want, and then push one out to one group on Classroom, because as we know, we can very, very easily do that with our little drop down, and then send the other one to the rest of your students. So it's a super easy workaround to make that happen.
yeah, that's a great idea. And then every student's getting their needs met. And that's what we're
Mhm.
always looking for. And also, I just love that I don't have to make the form twice because it's just so simple to quickly copy that form and have it in the same place. And I'm still going to be able to grade it through Google Classroom. So that's great. And this is
Yes.
again for everybody. So fantastic. Okay. Do you have a little bit more information for us, Courtney, about
Just a little bit,
autosave?
because
Okay.
Forms is the star of the show today.
It is.
So a couple of things: you do have to be signed in order for autosave to save your progress, which makes sense because it has to have somewhere to go.
Mhm.
And then as far as getting back to it, so you can, as long as autosave is enabled, you can close the tab, log out of your computer, come back another day. And when you go in, you just use the same URL to get back to your form with the same account that you were signed in with, and you'll be back to your first draft with your answers saved. Usually people wonder, okay, well, can I change my answers? You sure can. You can for sure clear your answers, but good old Google is always there for us, and they want to make sure that you won't clear them accidentally. I promise. If you hit it and they're like, "Are you sure? Are you sure you want to clear this?" And then you can hit the clear form button. A couple more tips. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brooke.
No, I was agreeing with you.
Yeah, no, a couple more tips though that just keep in mind, because this is the way this sets up. Remember, we said it holds it for up to 30 days or until you submit your form. This is just temporary data, so you can't download it. So one workaround, if you're a worrywart like me and you're like, but I've been working on this, but if my answers are gone, well, I remember these answers for 1 through 5 tomorrow. Copy and paste and put it over into a document would be a good kind of workaround, just to kind of make sure you can save your answers until you actually submit it. And then one other tip: if the form owner changes the question stem or some of the other answer options, don't worry, your answer will not be affected. One thing that I did see, that now, if the question goes away, if I'm the form owner and I get rid of a question completely, of course your answer will be gone. But if I just make some adjustments to how I worded the question or add in the answer choice, then your answer will still be there.
That's great. I am excited about autosave in
Yes.
forms. I love all the updates to forms because I know we use these for everything. There are so many different reasons to use forms.
And they've come so far. Like, I just remember, you had, like, what were the first colors? We had purple and maybe like 2 or 3 other options.
Right.
And
A nice
then we got
solid
some color
brown.
options, and then we could add in pictures, and then we got a
And
few fonts.
now,
And now,
Look at forms go. They are coming so far.
now this is still in the coming soon category, but on the fun side, we're going to have 20 new fonts in forms so that you can actually personalize your forms just that much more when you are creating forms for whatever, all those different needs. Like I said, there's so many different reasons why you need a form. But
Mhm.
again, in the coming soon category, but it is in fundamentals, and so that's the thing. So just be on the lookout for it. I
everybody,
cannot wait.
everybody.
Yay.
Yeah, same. I love that's such a great lead in here because there are people out there that don't know this, but I love a good font. Like, it is one of my favorite things. I think that fonts matter, and I am super excited to show you guys a little bit more about Google Fonts in case you didn't know them. They're Back in June, Google added 60 new fonts for workspace users. And that was amazing. And 60 more fonts for me to scroll through. Made my life a little bit complicated because my font list is pretty extreme. But I want to show you, just in case you have never seen how to add a font to your workspace account. It is so easy. You don't even need to call your tech guys in, or you don't have to have maybe make cookies for them. Maybe I've done that in the past when I need them to put something on my computer. No. Now all you have to do is you go and you click right here and where it says more fonts. And this is one of the easiest ways to add Google Fonts to your workspace library. Now, just because I went in through Google Docs to add this, it will show in Google Slides, in Sheets, in Google Draw. All of these fonts will now be in my list. And it is such a breeze. You can type for the font name you're looking for up here. You can scroll through and see which ones you already have in your list because they're already in blue with a check mark. If you're like, okay, Brooke, we've known that for a while. I'm just curious if you've ever changed your sort popularity over here to where it says date added. And if you do date added, this will normally give you the ones that were just added to Google. So I go in and check this all the time, see if there's something new that I need. Like, look, JetBrains Mono. That's one of the most popular new ones right now. And I can add those to my list, click OK. And now over here in my list, I'm going to see that new one. Let me not scroll too fast to give anyone a headache. Here's my new JetBrains.
And this is great too for any of those people, we'll be showing teachers about fonts. They're like, yes, we know how to add fonts. But even just knowing to sort by date added, that's how you can stay on top of all those hot new font trends.
Yeah. Another thing when you're in here, if you're just curious to look at them, you can go in and show over just maybe the display fonts or your handwriting fonts. You can see I like those. I have a lot of those selected. So I'm a big fan. If you're wondering where the main library for Google Fonts is though, that's just over at fonts.google.com. So if you ever navigate over to fonts.google.com, you can see most of the Google fonts that are available inside of Google Workspace. There are some in here that are still in just developer mode for websites, but most of them you can find inside of your Google Workspace. But this is what I love. See where it says type something? I can put my name in here and I can see what that font looks like. So I don't have to go through my list all the time. So let's say I'm just looking for a handwriting font. And now I can see, maybe I want to go look for Festive, or I can look for Indie Flower because that one I really like, or Shadows into Light. I can go into my document, type in Shadows into Light, see if it's in my font library, and then I'm able to use that one inside of my Google Doc, my slides, my Google Draw, my sheets, and it's all there for me. Do you guys use this all the time? I'm just curious.
No. And I'm sitting here like, Brooke, why didn't you tell me that this was such a good idea?
Well, now I feel like
I knew it was there. Yes. I mean, I've used it to go and find fonts, but yeah. Oh, that saves so much time. Okay. Thanks.
Well, last but not least, I just clicked on my Shadows into Light, and I just want to show one more thing here. I can go in and I can see everything that it has for me. For this particular font, I can see all the different letters, how it all looks, the about and the license, and everything is here for me. Very simple and easy to use. Now, there is a font that I want to talk to you guys about before we leave, and it is called Lexan, the Lexan font group. So in education, we know our students are on devices and all the time. And so this font is actually a font family that is used, and it's great for students with dyslexia, and it is Lexan. So when you go in, you can see all the different ones. And if you're curious to know the difference between all of the different font families, what they all mean, go ahead and check out their website at lexan.com, and it will tell you exactly why you would use each of the individual Lexan font groups. And I think that's going to be important for you. All right. Well, I don't see any questions over here in our private chat, and that's what we have for you today. I hope you're super excited about the autosave in Forms. Hopefully Google Fonts was new for you somehow, some way, and you're able to use that in your work as we move forward. Ladies, is there anything else you want to add?
I'm excited to just go to town on some new fonts.
Are you?
I'm excited about.
They were afraid that I was going to take us like 30 extra minutes when we got on fonts, but I promised myself that I was going to watch the clock and not go too extreme with it. So
She loves her fonts.
I do. I really do. So thank you guys so much for watching today. And we can't wait to see you again next week for our admins, keeping it classy. And make sure that if you want to sign up for that, you can go to the link that you see here. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Bye.